Hi, Corrine. We can't see you, but I know you're there. Welcome. All right, so let's jump right in, everyone.
Hey, hi. I couldn't get my mute button to go off, so.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I'm here.
Good. Everyone, glad to see you all. We're going to be jumping right in with 2021 theme. Oh, there's Sharon. Hey, we'll wait for you for a second here. Hi. Corrine, I know that you've been talking about the end of the year and PAPSA. Do you guys have a theme yet, or are you doing anything yet?
For the Christmas time? No,
Yeah.
we always, I mean, a lot of times we take our lead from whatever you guys come up with.
Yeah. Okay, well, I just wanted to double check where you were with it.
No, I have like 6 months of stuff to do between now and then. I haven't thought that far.
Well, listen, I know. And you know what we have heard and are expecting is that we won't be able to have a big gathering, even though we're moving along so wonderfully. Those 1s and 200s are going to be okay, but packing in 1,000 to 10,000, whatever we do, isn't going to be something we can probably do at the end of the year. So we're still probably looking at an event without a lot of attendees. Brandy, you're still on that page pretty much, right?
Yeah, I should have more of an update later this week on how the city should be moving forward with on events. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. But we know that we can still have smaller kinds of things going on. So, you know, I'm not exactly what everything's going to look like. I've been sort of warned that we probably cannot have what we've had in the past, but next year we can, most likely. So we have to come up with our theme, and we talked about maybe going with, you know, different Christmas type things around the world, but maybe if we're not going to go back to a regular festival this year, we could do something else, another theme. And I've been kind of jotting a few things down, but this is where we need all of your thinking caps, please. Ideas of what to call this one, because it would be nice to kind of get a theme soon. You know, we had the last year with the rocks and the cheer, the joy. So just a few things that I've got, and to maybe get things started. I have a season to shine, a time to shine, a season to share, a season to celebrate, a time to share, and then I thought we could do kindness and gratitude, or a season of gratitude, let your light shine. Any ideas? Anything?
I like the first one the best, a season to shine.
A season to shine?
Mm-hmm.
I like the kindness and gratitude also.
Mm-hmm.
I like the gratitude.
The gratitude?
I'm doing a thankful for every day this year in my diary, my journal.
Mm-hmm.
And we do, I mean, even in the middle of this, we have a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, that's one of them I had, is a season of gratitude. I know that's a little bit kind of Thanksgiving-ish, but you know, I thought that could really tie in. I think almost everybody is feeling like, yay, we survived. For the most part, most people have stayed pretty healthy. You know, we know quite a few people who are certainly unemployed or just getting back to work, and they've suffered financially. But for the most part, we have all been taken care of pretty darn well for being in the middle of something as dire as what we just went through. So that's kind of where I was going with the whole thing with the season of gratitude.
Yeah, you know, I really, really like your international Christmas theme when I first read that in the minutes, because the other thing I've done is usually tried to tie the market in if I can.
Yeah.
And I immediately thought, oh God, that'll be so much fun for Christmas trees on the sidewalk and for other things. But on the other hand, I kind of agree with you waiting till you can have a full-fledged Festival of Chimes and Lights. If there was, there was some way you could take kindness and gratitude and make it sound more Christmassy, holiday.
Gratefulness.
Well, or just something, I mean, like you say season, but I don't know, just something that makes you feel more Christmas than Thanksgiving,
Right.
like you said. I don't know
Right.
what that is, but
So tying in gratitude with something joyful, ho, 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 Christmas, you know,
yeah.
um,
Cindy, I know you've been to the Morris Mathis Guild luncheon many a time, and I'm, been very involved in that. And we didn't have one last year. We are having it this year, but it's virtual. And what we're doing is called Hope in a Box. And you buy your luncheon in a box, and you get everything you would get sitting down at the table, and blah blah blah. But my point is we came up with the word hope. That fits really well for spring. If you could come up with something that fits a little more holiday-ish. I don't know. Kindness and gratitude to me just doesn't smack of Christmas.
No, I know it's
If you
Thanksgiving.
can, yeah, if you could, but if you could use those words somehow, I don't know. I'd have to think about that tonight when I can't sleep.
Oh, you already know, right? Well,
I always like the word hope for anything. I don't know. I think hope is for any season of life. I love the hope theme.
the season of hope.
That's a little more Christmassy.
Well, kind of like you say, hope. You think of hope, and like I think of hope right now. We're seeing the flowers bloom. I went downtown today, Corinne, to deliver rocks to the dog.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I'm like, wow, what a beautiful day. And there were people in there eating at the restaurant. I walked through Josephine's, and she's got her stuff all redone, and Rosie's Cafe in there is open again. I'm like, wow. I told the guy in there, this looks like, okay, I'm hopeful. It looks like, and I think at Christmas, I don't know, I think hope just works for all seasons to me.
Hope and joy.
Hope and joy.
Joy. Yeah, now joy, that's a Christmas word.
Joy is a good one.
I love joy too. Season of joy, season of hope, hope and joy.
Season of hope and joy. We did do some of I think that could actually work.
Season of hope and joy. I mean,
Again,
I'm thinking of what other people that might want to pick something up like Pops or the market, but especially the trees, Cindy.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, not everybody does that, but.
Well, what we wanted to do is, Kareem, part of the whole idea of doing the Christmas around the world is how fun it would be downtown to start doing some things like, okay, if you're doing, say, Christmas in Scotland, you've got the plaids all over, you've got the bagpipes, you've got there's so many opportunities to play off of something like that. I can't wait for bagpipes,
Will it be, I mean, restaurants and stores could pick up the different traditions of other countries for Christmas in terms of merchandising or food or, I mean, honestly, the minute I read that, I thought, oh, that's perfect. I want to do that. But
yeah, and I thought about that for decorating because, if I'm just using the one in particular, but if we're doing Scotland, which to me is bagpipes and all that, then you've got the plaids and you've got all kinds of fun stuff to work with. And you just can go to some really different kinds of countries. Like I was thinking Jamaica and how crazy fun that would be with Jamaican Christmas music.
Worldwide joy and hope.
Yeah, but this year I don't think we're going to go into the around the world yet because Rita, we can't meet.
But I heard the end. I caught the tail end of that. I didn't realize that.
But we could. I mean, this whole thing this year is launching us into the future, and it is going to be filled with hope, and we are joyful.
Are you thinking? I mean, is there a way to kind of go in between, like tree lighting from cars in the parking lot across from the city hall or something like that? I don't know. So you kind of work into it.
Yeah, I think so. Kareen, we don't have a lot of time because look at how we're only like 6 months away ish. But yeah, and once we know what phase 3 is going to look like, we're all waiting to hear. Yeah, we can try to do more stuff. And if we can have limited numbers and events and then be able to do our social distancing, it's just that cars maybe could do that. but it would be a limited number. I don't think we could put very many cars in that parking lot. But
You could put them
yeah.
on the street and in the parking lot. I think people want to see something, even if everybody, lots of people will self-select out anyways, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, I don't think you can do this, but one way to kind of, if you could actually charge and it was a donation to the food bank or something like that for the people who got to park in their cars and watch the tree get lit or drove by or something. I don't know.
Yeah, city can't do that.
But they can, but somebody else could do it. Somebody else could do it. Well, anyways, it'd be great if there's some way that some people who chose to come down and sit in a car. I don't know.
And maybe that'll end up being something out on the waterfront or in the water. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we just have to keep thinking, the police will have a hard time with enforcement, and we get directives from above about what we can and cannot do, and we have to follow those rules. But we can hope, and we can be thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying, because I know everybody is really wanting to move further along, and I think we will. But back to our theme. So do you think season of hope and joy, or some takeoff on that?
A season of worldly joy, if you're talking about wanting the world in.
Yeah, that's, to me, that also connotates something else that's
It can.
Yeah. Worldly joy could be glug, 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 or we're gonna really celebrate this year.
I like the season of joy and hope, or season of hope and joy. I'm not sure which. Joy and hope kind of rolls off your tongue better, maybe. I don't know. Joy and hope and
a season, or the season?
A season, because that's where we are. We're in a season. We've been in a season for the last year.
A season for joy and hope, or a season of joy and hope?
Joy that I mean, who knows what everything will look like in December.
Yeah, so Rita's asking.
Well, to me, hope leads to joy. So I would put hope first.
A season of hope and joy.
A season of hope and joy?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we just hang on to that? And if we can come up with something that's better, we will.
It's a start.
Yeah. Hope and joy. You know what I do?
Got to start somewhere. That's what you.
Okay. Let's play with that one.
And then we can have a contest for everyone who's got the name of joy and who everyone's got the name of hope to get involved.
That's going to be like all five of you out there, right?
I like that.
Now you can also a season of hope and joy, or you could also say a spirit of hope and joy, because it's the spirit of the season. But I like season too. So I mean, I like
Yeah, I'm thinking of
start somewhere.
Thinking of words that won't.
Season is generic too.
Yeah, it's generic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that probably is a safer word in general for this. And I think it is, you know what, that works. I think that's a real nice one to launch. But you guys, I do think we should get into Christmas around the world maybe next year. And be thinking about it. And I'm so sorry that I just really want Scotland to be first, because I want those bagpipes.
Have you been to Scotland?
Huh? No, not yet. But I read about it, and I do all the travel.
I'd love to go back. It was a great place to visit.
Yeah, I've been around Scotland, but not in it. So, but yeah, and we have quite a few Scottish people around here too. I think the whole thing with kilts and plaids and all of that would be fun.
We have a lot of Scandinavians, a lot of Norwegians and Swedes.
Oh, that's it. It's the kilts, isn't it?
It's a kilt, man.
She just wants
and I hope it's a nice windy day. Yeah.
Now that could lead to some interesting conversations on a windy day. We got to work
that is hope and joy right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great
My
progress.
dog says hi. She's being noisy.
Okay. Well, given that could be our new theme, let's go into the tree judging categories. Let me grab my notes. Okay. So.
And is the application done and on the website now or not?
Randy, do you know?
Yeah, I don't think it is yet. I think we have to add some stuff to it, but we're kind of waiting for some things. So I'll have Janine send Cindy a final what we have to date and go from there. But I don't
actually, you know what? And that actually, let's go to something else first, because then we can go back to the judging categories. So do you have information, Brandy, on the extension cords for the trees and the planters? Do you have any info on that?
I don't have anything on the planters. I do know that Bill reached out to get a cost estimate of the extension cords. And it was, I think it was $1,900 to get all of the extension cords. That was just a real rough estimate from one supplier.
Wow. And
looking at my budget, not meaning my administrative clerk's office budget, that's where Chimes and Lights is housed in. And I think I just have to just double check with the finance director and the mayor to make sure that they're okay with that part of it. But I think I should be able to absorb that piece into our budget.
Just kind of
yeah.
You know what? I think that would be one of the safest things to do.
I just thinking about it liability wise, and if they're plugging in, if we're plugging it in, and if somebody brings in the wrong cord and there's just issues and it's our power that's being supplied, I think it makes sense that the city should supply the cords.
Yeah, and we can get them labeled for the different positions.
Yeah.
And Brandy, you know what? We could probably just leave them up there all year round.
Yeah, I don't know that piece, but I know Bill is pretty protective with Chimes and Lights dollars. So if it's purchased with Chimes and Lights, he wants it in a container and marked safely and put in the Chimes and Lights section. But, obviously we can figure that out, that piece later, but, I'll ask him actually.
Hey, quick question. I thought Bill was retiring. Did I get my timeline on that wrong?
He is, but it's still a few years out.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Might be a year or two-ish.
Okay, good.
Getting
That's
close.
good. That's good news. I mean, I met his helper gal last year. Okay, good.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, what's her name again?
Her name is Tuesday.
That's right. Yeah.
I love that name, Tuesday. It's so cute.
Oh, good, because I have a question for him, so I know who to go to. It's still him.
Yeah, you know what? I like that too, Brandy. That would just solve so many things. And the thing is, Public Works could be working on that during a good season when it's warm out, and having that all taken care of and not out in the cold and all of that. Yeah. Then we'd be all set up. And that leads me to the next thing is, and Corinne, you're here talking about this too, numbering the planters.
Yeah.
And getting those locations.
It's a big reason why I made the time to Zoom in today.
Right.
Because we have such confusion with the plantings of the planters. People get confused which planters which, and
right.
And not to mention the duct tape with the numbers is not too chic.
Oh, come on, Corinne. I go down there and have to write those little numbers on that duct tape.
Well, I tore it off the planter. I put my tree in because I didn't like it, but
I think I put another one back on yours just
probably.
To get
I may have taken it off again. But it's something that I think would be very helpful to POPSA and Chimes and Lights. I have no idea. Just something really small and simple. Yeah. And when I think about it, it'd have to be, I think, on the edge of the planter. I don't know why I'm motioning, because you guys can't see me, but I'm motioning like you can see me. Just a little tiny copper plaque that says 57, 58, 59, that could go right on the edge. You'd have to, screw them or pin them in.
Right.
One thing with that, The only thing with that is more and more, I see people totally covering the planters now. But if
That's
you had,
true, but it really only matters when you're decorating your tree and when you're first going to plant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Once the plants start growing,
okay,
I mean, at least that's my thought on it. You just need to identify which planter it is you want to put your tree in or do your planting, adopt for planting.
Is the
And
concrete on the outside?
Yeah.
well,
Are you guys opposed to have some sort of, what's it called, mitering, or I don't know what it's called, but you just have engraved the numbers, like you just take a.
I don't know if you could do that because they're exposed, what's that called? What's it called? Aggregate. Yeah, they're aggregate.
Okay.
I mean, they're little teeny tiny pebbles.
There's pebbles. There's
Yeah.
not a flat
Seems
surface.
like you could. It seems like you could glue a little plaque on there.
Yeah. You know
They've
what?
got super glue these days.
You know,
Well-
that would be less expensive. And you know, if it doesn't last forever, it's better than what we're doing now.
We'll do that.
what if you had a hanger, like a wire hanger that hung over, it's stuck in and it hangs over with the number on it?
Yeah, but that's going to be more expensive. And if it's something that people can pick up and take,
They will.
They will.
I mean, honestly, I've been surprised that more Christmas trees haven't been vandalized, but
You
there's a
guys, I think that's no problem. We will come up with something that we can glue on with numbers.
you know, I will price that out if you want, Cindy, you know, or some options, and then let you know what the options are and how much they are.
Okay.
Because I think that it would be, like I said, it'd be advantageous to us as well.
Right. Now, the big thing with that is what we ran into, Corinne and I both have, is that people move the planters. And we have a bunching of them over by the market. And
Yeah, they need to be spread out a little more.
we need to go back in there and spread the planters out and mark the
Times and
location.
lights.
So we can start doing that. I was going to have work with Bill on Tuesday in getting the planters back into locations evenly spaced and then marking the locations with a very small dot or star on the pavement.
Yeah, just make sure you don't reduce the numbers per block because we already have almost every one of them adopted out for planting. And that would mess up our sign up sheet for this year. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
except
if you take one off one block to put it on another block, then you'd mess us
Right.
up
well,
completely.
there's nothing down by Myri's, Corinne.
There's
I
one, there is one, but there is a gap. There's one right on the corner and then there's a gap
Right.
where there should be one if they were just shifted down.
That's
And
what we're gonna
last
have to
year
do.
they also, when we were taking the plants out,
Yeah,
you know, one totally fell apart.
yeah, I
But
saw.
Bill put another one in the same spot. I don't even know where he got it from, but
Right. And Corinne, that's another thing. We absolutely cannot screw anything into those planters. They're old.
yeah,
And that the
gluing a
concrete
block is better.
pebbles will crack so
Yeah.
easily now.
Yeah. There's one other planter, I think it's on the Dragonfly block that's missing a little bit of a chunk.
Yeah, it is.
But, you know, I think, you know, the more often those planters are used to have something in it, the less likely they're used as a garbage can or an ashtray. Or, I mean, somebody literally shoved one over. They literally pushed one over, some hoodlum. But you know, I
People
mean,
need to get a life.
I think, you know, I think they do need to be spread out, but hopefully you won't have him move any off of any of the blocks, at least not until just before it just would screw up our whole system right now.
Well, how many do you have on your block? Do you know?
No, well, of total, there's the 58. So I don't know. I can't tell you right offhand without looking at the map.
Yeah,
But
we
you're
have-
right, there is a big gap. And then
Yeah.
there's some that are really close to each other. So they just need to be shifted down.
And
Yeah,
is
we
that,
have-
do you think that's because of the electrical issues?
No, they've been like that for a couple of years.
Okay.
No,
So I'm not sure why. I don't know why.
because it's more fun to have stuff in front of places that are visited a lot. And people don't want to have their donated tree or planter down in an area where it's dark and dreary and no one goes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's, only one block that's like that. And, that is the Dragonfly block. And that is the block we still have the 4, 5, I think, planters left. It's also a shady block. So people want
shady.
sunnier blocks. But I don't think it makes, I think people just have moved them around over the years. Fred had moved his completely, put it in front of his building and thought it was his. So I'm not sure. I think it got moved back to the edge. Matter of fact, I think I just told somebody, just move it to the edge. It doesn't go in front of his building. It goes on the edge where all the rest of them are.
Right.
So
yep, you can see that getting the planters in the right places is something we need to do, and we will. And we expect that they'll probably walk again. But in order to do our little maps with the numbering, then we have to get them lined up, because last year we were off. And for instance, Kitsap Banks was in the wrong location. And
that's the same thing that happened with us with the adoptive planters. They got off, plus people went and planted in the wrong ones. And, I mean, we made it work, but
right,
it's a fair amount of confusion.
Right. Well, so I'll work with Bill and Tuesday on getting those evened out. And Corrine, we'll stick our nose in and grab you too.
Well, I'm not there that often. I mean, I'm at our other office more often, just,
Okay.
You might, text me if I'm down the road, at our other office, I can run down.
Okay. But we won't try to change the numbers. But if there's a real problem with it, we'll have to move one of them down. But I think it's mostly just evening those out on that block.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we really have only 57 planters now. We don't have 58 any longer.
Are you sure?
Yeah, honestly.
Chris told me she went down and counted them.
Yeah, there's 57. I skipped a number, Corrine, to not throw it off. There was one and we didn't use at all. So that number was missing, like 49 or one of those. I just plain eliminated it. But when we start from scratch, we'll have them go up to 57. And
49
we'll probably
is in front of the market.
Huh? 49
is in front of the market.
Well, for one of the trees, there was a number that I had to just skip.
Okay.
Because
well, we haven't totally adopted out the planters. So if there's 57, not 58 planters, we're still fine. So
yeah, there's only 57.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, you can see we're working that out, and we'll just keep that up because the planters in the summer and the trees in the winter are cool downtown. We love them. And we'll work on that. And getting the extension cords up.
Number 52, it looks like 52 is the one that was, is that, oh no, that says Kitsap Bank on 52.
It was Kitsap Bank.
I was looking at the Excel spreadsheet to see what number was left out, but.
Yeah, I told Janine just to have it. I can look, I've got it right here.
Yeah, Kitsap Banks was in front of what we call the alley.
Yeah. It was number 52. Well, I'll just keep looking while we're talking, but there was one that we just got rid of. Yeah, 44. It was 44, Brandy.
Yeah, I see it.
But that's in front of the alley. And then that's the last one, or maybe one of the last ones before the corner. And then you're right, there's none in there. They need to be.
Right, so we're gonna have to shift them all back down the way, because they're all bunched up by you.
Yeah, well, yeah, from Josephine's and to the market, there's a bunch of them, and then there's only like one on the corner. So
right,
fine. It's moving them to a different block that would really screw us up.
Yeah, I don't think we're not moving them to a different block, but we're going to even those out just a little.
Although it's possible that Josephine's and Carter's will not be as happy if they're shifting away from their stores, but they'll get over it. I mean,
we'll tell them it was your idea. We'll tell them it was your idea to ship those out.
Oh yeah, great, thanks. Don't tell Matt that.
Listen, Carter's usually has 2.
They do, and they run the runner beans up to the post, so
right.
They may not get to do that this year.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see and we'll see. We'll try to make as many people happy as we can.
Sure.
Yeah. So, well, I think that's good. So we've got a theme. We know we're going to go back into our trees, having trees. We're going to have the planters. We're going to try to find the money for extension cords. And another thing with that, Brandy, is that we can match what they are. We won't have orange ones and yellow and.
Yeah, and I do know that when Bill takes them all out, when he's ready to get rid of them, he doesn't number the extension cords. He just pulls them and then puts them in a big bucket and tells people to come and grab them. So hopefully, I'm sure there's one or two people that are upset that they didn't get their extension cords back. So hopefully that will eliminate one of those concerns. So yeah.
Perfect. Very perfect. This is a tradition I think we'll be keeping for some time, if not adding on. Speaking of you guys, that would be something that would be really nice to do, is to add the joy a little bit else. I was thinking in we talked about it, the new traffic circles, whatever you want to call them. There are some plugins. So I'm hoping that we can have the funds to add lights to Tremont, as you come in.
That'd be great.
Wouldn't that be nice to have some
great
decorations in there? And I love seeing the park, Rockwell Park, with the decorations. So if we can expand the decorations beyond downtown a little bit, that would be really fun.
Yeah, and then there'll be another roundabout at KFC eventually too.
Yes, KFC, and there's another one going in on Bethel. There'll be one by Lincoln and Bethel. So as we have those roundabouts, that's just great lighting potential.
Yeah.
And we should be expanding and thinking. And I do think that we've got to think out of the city a little bit. We've got McCormick Woods area. We may be able to do a little something out there because I know they do quite a bit. But they're part of our community as well.
Yeah.
So we'll have to think about different locations, but I do think roundabouts are just a good start. And Bill was already talking about some of the potential, and Mark about on Tremont, those two roundabouts, adding some lights even. So, okay, that tree judging categories. So the judge team last year had some ideas. For one thing, we ran into the problems with most trees turning into giving trees when they weren't all giving trees. And so we need to differentiate between a giving tree and just a regular decorated tree. So I'm not sure how we can do that, but it's something we need to all be thinking about. And that when people adopt a tree, we need to find out if we can, before they decorate, if theirs is going to be a giving tree or not.
You want me to put a spot on the application that says, will this be a giving tree? Yes or no? We can.
Yeah, and you guys, here's something to think about too. Should we have all the giving trees be in one area so there's not as much possibility for theft?
Cindy, what is the difference between the two trees, giving trees and the regular trees?
Okay, people actually make their trees so that anything that's on it can be given away. So we started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the football team a year or so ago had everything like food and socks and mittens or whatever. They put stuff on there, knowing that people were going to take them. Okay.
It's kind of like a help yourself if it's a giving tree. Okay.
And this year,
taking tree. Take it.
Yeah, this year, almost every tree turned into a giving tree, and it wasn't intentional, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our gnome lose his nose and a hat and all kinds of things,
Yeah, my little mice sleeping with their crocheted blankets, several of those disappeared. So
yeah,
the only thing I don't like about grouping them all is because those trees tend to not be as bright and shiny, and then there's a kind of a darker, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know.
But
I know exactly.
Hand, I mean, I think the most important thing is just somehow distinguishing that they're not all giving trees or taking trees. trees. They're
Well,
not
that's
all-
another thing too. I think that all trees should have lights.
I agree, 100%. They didn't all last year.
Yeah, I think that it's just too dark.
And the
When
other thing,
there's,
Cindy, I know I said this to you when you first started this project, from my history with the former Festival of Trees. I mean, I spend a lot of time wiring everything to my tree, everything. And people aren't doing that. And if you don't wire your stuff to the tree, it's just an invitation to take it. I mean, it's not. People shouldn't take things that aren't theirs, but still, wiring stuff really does help.
Well, we wire ours on the tree, but it doesn't take that long to unwire if you really want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but it does take a little longer. I mean, you
little
can't just be
longer.
walking down the road, and because the stuff on the Kitsap Bank tree, which was one of the trees, unfortunately, without lights,
yeah,
good half of the stuff was gone.
Oh,
They had ornaments that were Ks for Kitsap.
oh,
I mean, they were, people just took them because they weren't wired on at all. They were just hung. So I just think, I'm just suggesting that you emphasize that again to people, that it will help keep people from taking stuff off the trees if they have to stand there, and during the middle of the night, it's not going to make a difference, but it will the rest of the time.
okay. Do you like the idea of continuing to have the giving trees? Should we discourage that? What do you think?
I think you discourage the spirit if you take away the giving, because that's kind of one of the things that people want to give to those that perhaps are even more in need of something than any of us would be, maybe.
Right.
But I think you would dampen the spirit.
Maybe suggest if they have a giving tree, they need to replenish it, like whatever you say, every day, every couple of days, they need to go down and check it out so it stays nice and looks
People
good.
did have to replenish their giving trees a lot.
But maybe the
Steve
giving-
Rice had a tree, and he said every week they went through a lot of
We had
stuff.
one.
I
We did the one for
Go ahead.
the one for Helpline was a giving tree, and I replenished it every week.
Mm-hmm.
We gave out little bottles of sanitizer and homemade masks, Christmas masks.
Would there be a way to identify more visibly that it is a giving tree?
That's what we need to do.
Because otherwise, if they say, well, take here, then they're gonna, like they did, they obviously went down to all the trees. Oh, well, we can take what we want. But if it's more identified readily than the others, that it's a giving tree, not a giving tree, that kind of a thing, maybe they would keep their fingers out of their pockets or in their pockets.
So what was your original objective, Cindy? To beautify downtown?
Yeah.
With the spirit. So
right.
The offering stuff on a tree is, that just really came up this last year, right?
Yeah, the first people to do it, I think, was the football team.
So my point being, your original objective was to make downtown beautiful as you're driving through or walking down the sidewalks, right? And sparkly and lights and Christmas spirit. I mean, maybe the giving trees should be somewhere else within places. I mean,
I was
that
thinking
bank
that.
used to have the Seroptimus tree in the bank. And I mean, I have a senior giving tree in the market. We'd have room for more than one tree in there. I mean, I'm just thinking about that. I mean, there's not a lot of big spaces like the bank and the market, but, I don't know, maybe the giving trees should be in front of City Hall. I don't know. So that they're distinguished.
Near the marina or something.
Exactly. So they're not part of that's just a thought.
Well, I think we're headed in that direction, quite truthfully. I think that we do need to think about where they could be. And I think that maybe if we eliminate the giving trees from the street, then we will have a better display and less problems with people taking things that.
I agree. Because I mean, I definitely could fit more than one giving tree in the market, but probably not much more than one. maybe, and maybe the bank will be open by then and you could put 1 or 2 in the bank and then over by the, I don't know. I just think that might be the better way to go.
Yeah, I'm headed in that direction too, because I'll tell you one thing, to me, it was disappointing going down the street and having a completely dark tree that you
I
couldn't
agree.
see.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, and I know, we've got those 4 corners
Yeah.
where there's no power. But when people even put one thing that was sparkly or shiny or,
There's
lots of,
some pretty powerful,
yeah,
long-lasting battery operated lights. Even a
yeah.
few lights on those trees would be, yeah, honestly, it made me think, gosh, I should take that tree and go to the extra effort of putting lights on it. One of the non-electrical ones, because yeah.
I thought that one, it was an auto place that had that corner that had the Santa sticking out of it like he was looking into a car. That was
Yeah.
pretty clever. There were some fun things on those corners.
Yeah.
That was great. Very creative. Well, I think we should do that. Unless there's no objection, let's try to find a place for giving trees that's not the street. I think it's such a good idea, but we're running into problems with that. And that's a good point, Kareen. This is to make the city look better.
Yes.
And I think we should put on the application that all trees need to have lights. So if people adopt a corner tree, they need to get creative about how they're going to keep their tree lit. Even if it's not all the time, it's got to be reflective or, I don't know, battery operated. I really do think that's a good idea. And then wiring the ornaments, and then we'll find a place for the giving trees that makes sense. But have it be, then organizations can do what they want to with it. I just think that feels better in general.
Yeah. And if you spend some time thinking about it, there may be a couple other places that might be appropriate for a giving tree. That are kind of undercover.
Maybe even over in that lot, Kareen.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, when they're undercover, then the items don't get wet. Because any place out in the open, they're going to get wet.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep thinking on that one. Okay.
Bruce Titus might, Shane might be, they might do a giving tree in there. I mean, will people pull in and go into there? I don't know, but they'd sure be happy to have people pull in and go into there. I don't know.
Yeah. To be thought about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But is everybody pretty much on the same page, having the giving trees somewhere else?
I think it's a good idea.
You think so too?
I do.
Okay. And yeah. I think, Brandy, I think that we will make it that all trees need to have lights. I really think that makes a difference. Most people associate a decorated tree with lights anyway. And that's what we need more of downtown, is to brighten it up. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do that. We'll be looking for places where we could have potential giving trees. And I think that separation is going to be good. So the judges, when they were talking, said they wanted to have a best of giving tree, but if we don't have them down there, that's not going to be a category. Another judge theme that they thought would be good is the most classic or classy tree. We've had vintage in the past, and they like the idea of using classic or classy, because people don't really know what vintage is anymore, kind of. And another one was the most comical or a theme tree, and an overall best in show, though there's the People's Choice that's done by POPSA. So, whoops, let's get rid of this here. Sorry. But we'll work on those categories too, now that we've got a little different shift on this. And I think we're still able to keep the $50 charge, which I think has been manageable for most.
That's useful.
And Brandy, if we could have, I think we talked about this last time, if Bill make sure that we get the trees reserved, and also we talked about for sure going with a delivered large tree for the front of City Hall, not have Public Works be fussing with that anymore. And I think that's pretty much what we needed to cover today. So we'll work on getting those planters numbered and some kind of little marking on the sidewalk. I don't think there's going to be any issue if we were to just spray paint a star or something on the walk itself that would be not super noticeable, maybe in gold or something that doesn't stand out too terribly much. But then we'd have locations of where the planters ought to be. And I can work with Bill and Tuesday on getting those spread out and working on those. And that's our good start.
So
We're almost
is it December 4th? Is that correct?
It is.
Okay.
Yep. December 4th. And maybe we can have some sort of, I would love to do a virtual tree lighting, but it's so hard it's so expensive to have the equipment to be able to broadcast anything. And we just don't have that much space in front of City Hall. So I think that we probably, Loretta had to leave, didn't she? Did Loretta file an application for a run, Brandy?
Yes.
So she's going to have an actual run on the day of, right?
As far as I know, yes. According to her application, yes.
And she's closing the street?
I believe so. I haven't reviewed it. Let me see.
A lot of people like to do live streaming and stuff on Facebook. I mean, even if you had people ahead of time, 6, 10 people who live streamed at the same time, the tree lighting from different angles, socially distanced, but from the sidewalk. I mean, just all the way around and live streamed it onto Facebook. I don't know.
Let's check into that possibility. Also, we have a drone. I wonder if there's something that we can do with the drone.
Yeah.
Being able to camera.
Sure.
We can maybe find out about that. Drone coverage.
Who runs your drone at the city? Do you know?
The police.
Okay.
Public Works as well.
Yeah, because
Public Works.
Because we have one for our business, and my son Josh runs drones all the time. And Jeremy Stitt has one at SWG that he runs drones for as well.
How long can those run, Corrine?
I don't know. A while. I mean.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can have drone coverage.
The thing is if you're, from above, from a whole bunch of different angles, I can just imagine all at the same time for, 5 minutes, people are live streaming from different angles, including a drone, onto their pages that can be shared to other pages. Something like that, and then people will see it for days to come. Whereas last year, I think people were like, well, can't we at least know what day they're going to do it? And you didn't want to do that, so people wouldn't be down there. But things are different now, and they're going to be hopefully even better. That might be a way to,
and that was an issue with the police. We didn't have much.
I understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, if we could have something like that where we captured a tree light,
social media, and yeah.
It would be fun to have some kind of music down there. I don't think that we could probably have the band, could we?
Live music is going to be is opening up, so I don't know. I think you would need some music ahead, and then the lighting, and then some music after. I don't know.
We had a real problem trying to get music to come across the chimes out of the City Hall. We practiced with that. It was really hard to get that to work well.
Oh, you mean to actually come out of the speaker system?
Yeah, it does. And it has to be programmed in such a funny sort of way. And a few people heard it, but if it's too loud, then the people closest by the chimes.
Can't win.
Really get blown away. Yeah, I know. But you know what? The waterfront.
Go ahead.
Waterfront was amazing.
Yeah.
Didn't they do a great job down there?
Yeah. If people are standing there live streaming with their cell phones, I mean, and you specifically, get a few people to do that, then the music's going to pick up on their phones.
Right. Well, let's try for something along those lines. We'll see if there's any possibility. And I know as we, again, hear more from what the mandates are for the next phase 3 and all of that. But we've got some fun things to plan for. So I know it was pretty dead down here though on the Chimes and Lights Day.
Yeah.
It was pretty sad. Although, do you know, Bobby told me that she had the best day of the year on Chimes and Lights Day.
Yeah. Well, that was during, see, here's the thing. It was takeout. If it hadn't been takeout, there would have been more people downtown.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't go in and sit down at a restaurant, it's the middle of winter, cold, dark, when you have Christmas presents at home to wrap. Nobody was going to take out. And there was nothing to bring them down in the dark. So, I mean, there was really nothing but the Christmas trees, which they could see any day.
Right.
We had good turnout for our Santa, and I worked really hard to provide a Santa that was socially distanced. And I didn't have any complaints from anybody. Everybody was happy with the way we did it.
That's success right there.
Yeah, I mean, I was just determined to have Santa. And, he was a good 6 to 8 feet up off the ground, and everybody was 4 to 5 to 6 feet in front of him. And he didn't wear a mask, and everybody else did. Except for during pictures, most of them took it off. But so it worked out really well. Thank you, Larry Stokes, for the use of the sleigh. That was perfect. In fact, I think I'm just going to keep using it. So.
All right. Well, we'll see. Lots of good ideas, and this is off to a good start, I think. We'll see how much we can do in our next 6 months. Yeah. Okay. I think that we've covered everything we need to, and we'll be following up with the numbering. Corrine, you're going to get back if you run into anything.
I'm gonna ask Christy for some ideas at Fine Arts Litho, even though she might even be able to do little tiny plaques that could be glued down. Yeah, I'll check around.
Okay. And Public Works, I'll work with Public Works to get those planters evened out and some little marking on the sidewalk just to help us. And it won't be something real bright, but something that if you look for it, you'll see it, like a gold star or something.
Sure.
Okay. And our next meeting is going to be, let's see, April 19th.
Okie doke.
Okay. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and holler if you think of anything clever and fun, and we'll be working on these things. Okay. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Cindy.
Bye.
Happy spring. Bye-bye.